Hello everyone. So today in this video, I'm gonna discuss year 2023 PYQ of International Marketing Management. So let's get started. The very first question is identify and briefly describe some of the restraining factors that impede the growth of global marketing. And here we get the option in this question that is outline the challenges facing a business moving from a single country to global marketing. Here I'll be answering identify briefly restraining factors. So let's see. So global marketing offers very vast opportunities, but there are several restraining factors that slow down or limit its growth. So these can include your political barriers, economical, technological barriers, environmental barriers. So let's see it's one by one. The very first is trade barrier that includes tariff quotas or import restriction imposed by the government to make it difficult for the firm to enter foreign market. One thing that we all should keep in mind is we have to give examples as much as possible to explain our point. So here the example is high import duties on automobiles discourage foreign brands. Second factor is political and legal constraint. क्योंकि if a country have unstable government, the policy changes or restrictive regulations, then it create uncertainty for global markets. Example: sudden change in the foreign investment laws or sanctions. Economic difference include variation in income levels, inflation rates, currency values, and economic stability that affect demand and pricing decisions. Here, the example can be a product affordable in US may be too costly in developing countries. The fourth point is socio-cultural difference. Language, values, beliefs, and consumer behavior differs across a nation and make it hard to standardize marketing strategies. So, example here is advertising themes acceptable in one country may offend other. The fifth point is technological barrier. Differences in technological infrastructure such as internet access, payment systems, or logistic capabilities hinder smooth global operations. Example: limited digital payment option in rural market. Now, sixth point is competition and market saturation. Local firms may have a strong brand loyalty and distribution network, making it difficult for the new entrants to compete effectively. Transport and distribution challenge, because there's high logistic cost, poor infrastructure, and long delivery time. These all restrict efficient movement of goods across the border. Exchange rate fluctuations. Unstable foreign currency exchange rate creates uncertainty in pricing, profit, financial planning. Legal and ethical issues include differences in advertising laws, product standards, and ethical norms can delay or prevent market entry. The last point is communication barriers. So differences in language, media access, and consumer literacy make it difficult to deliver a consistent marketing message globally. So these were the restraining factors that slow down or limit the growth. These are, let me repeat it once again: trade barrier, political and legal constraint, economic differences, socio-cultural differences, technological barriers, competition and market saturation, transport and distribution challenges, exchange rate fluctuations, legal and ethical issues, and communication barriers. Moving to the second question, that describe five major transformation affecting the global economic environment since World War, and what is one common theme that features among the changes. And the option question for this question was what are the main features of market capitalism and centrally planned socialism, and what has led to the adoption of a market capitalist system among any former socialist country. So here I'll be answering the second question, the option question here. Features of market capitalism and centrally planned socialism. Let's see what is market capitalism. So basically, market capitalism is an economy system where market forces, that is demand and supply, are determined by the allocation of resources, and private ownership plays a dominant role in production and distribution. So in market capitalism, the ownership is of private sectors. So the main feature again, it's private ownership. Most resources and means of production are owned by the individual or private firms. Free market mechanism. Prices and outputs are determined by the forces of demand and supply with minimal government interference. And profit motive, because if it's private ownership, their motive is to gain profit more and more. Consumer sovereignty. Consumers influence production designs through their purchasing preferences. Like here, the customer is the king. Free competition among firms lead to better quality, lower prices, and innovations, better option for the consumer itself. Limited government role, the government mainly acts as a regulator या फिर protector of property rights, not as a producer. So the countries which follow market capitalism are United States, United Kingdom, Japan, and Australia. Now moving to what is centrally planned socialism. So centrally planned socialism, or we can say command economy, is a system where the government controls and owns all the major resources and makes all economic decisions related to production and distribution. So iska main features, again, it's a state ownership. The government owns and control all the means of production, land, labor, capital. It's central planning authority. A central planning body decides what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Absence of market forces, because the price and quantities are fixed by the government and it's not determined by the demand and supply forces. There is no profit motivation here, because the goal is social welfare and equitable distribution, not profit maximization. Limited consumer choice, because consumer can buy only what the government choose to produce. It focuses on equality. The system aims to minimize income inequality through redistribution and state welfare. So historically, this system was followed by former USSR, Cuba, and North Korea. So the major difference between market capitalism and centrally planned socialism is market capitalism is a private ownership, whereas centrally planned socialism is state ownership. There is a profit motivation here, no profit motives. And now moving to the third part of this question, that is reason for adaptation of market capitalism by former socialist countries. So after the collapse of centrally planned economies, many countries shifted toward market capitalism due to the following reasons. Because the very first reason is inefficiency of central planning. Bureaucratic control led to waste and low productivity and shortage of goods. Lack of innovation and competition, because there is an absence of profit motive that discourage innovations and efficiency. Globalization and trade liberalization, integration with global market required adaptations of free market principles. Foreign investment needs, to attract FDI, countries had to adapt policies promoting private ownership and open competition. Fifth point is consumer demand for variety and quality. Citizens want greater choices, quality, and modern goods unavailable under socialism. So, the next is economic reforms and privatization. Many socialist countries like Russia, China, Poland introduced market reforms to revive growth through privatization and deregulation. And success of market economies, prosperity of capitalist nations such as US and Japan inspired socialist countries to adopt similar models. Now the examples of this transition is China introduced socialism with Chinese characteristics, combining market reforms with state control. And Russia and Eastern Europe shifted to market-oriented systems through privatization and foreign trade liberalization in 1990s. Um, Former socialist countries adopted market capitalism because it promotes efficiency, innovation, global trade, and consumer welfare, all of which are lacking in centrally planned socialism. So basically, in this question, we were asked firstly to explain uh, what is main features of market capitalism and centrally planned, and the factors which led to adoption of market capitalist system in centrally planned socialism. So firstly, we explain market capitalism, what it is, and centrally planned economy, and then the reason for this transition that is very obvious. So that's all for this video. Thank you.